Well, as close to a perfect start as Barnsley could really have wished for, really. Yeah, 4 wins in their first 6 games for Conor Hourihane's Tricky Reds. Really impressive from my point of view, the way that the Reds have started. I think Conor Hourihane's obviously a rookie, but we're definitely seeing signs, both in terms of whispers of how he was behind the scenes last season, certainly as a coach before he took the caretaker role, in terms of how meticulous he is in the detail, the quality of coaching, the kind of football that we're seeing Barnsley play, and certainly in terms of how aggressive Barnsley have been against the ball and how strong they can be on turnovers with that fluid front three of Caelan Vickers, Davis Keeler-Dunn, and sometimes David McGoldrick. Bit of a rotation there, and Vimal Yoganathan, when he's come in, has looked really good. And so the question is, how good are Barnsley going to be this season? Is this a team that's there to stay in around the top 6? And what can we expect from them? So they're the team that we're going to lean on in this League One podcast. If you like what we do here on EFL Debate, you can do us a massive favour by getting subscribed to us on YouTube and on Spotify. So I'm delighted to be joined this morning by Mr. Andy Simcox from Red All Over. Lovely to have you on, Andy. How do you feel about Barnsley's start to the season?
I think it's been pretty decent. It's better than we imagined, because of a big turnover in the summer of players leaving, being moved on. Players who I don't think Conor felt had matched the style and the formations that he wanted to play, and brought some new players in. So I thought it'd take time to bed it all in, but they've more or less hit the ground running. We've had a few ropey performances. We lost to Wimbledon 2-0, and deservedly so. We weren't very good.
Although Andy, just on that game, I spoke to Wimbledon fans who said Barnsley have tested them and looked more creative than anyone they'd placed. So I agree. Maybe Wimbledon did deserve to win that game, but it shows in all the games you've been a team that can create chances.
Then we're brilliant. Then if we can lose 2-0 to Wimbledon and play like we did, and they think that we're a good side, because we weren't on the day. We weren't.
Okay.
And there's been a few bits. The Burton, the first half against Burton, we weren't at the races really, but turned it round, including an injury time winner, which always it's nice. It's nice to be able to talk about Barnsley getting injury time winners as opposed to conceding an injury time like we did last season. So all in all, it's going pretty well, and I honestly think that there's more to come. You've got to remember that a couple of those games we won at Plymouth and drew at home with a late goal by John McAtee with Bolton, but we had 10 men, and I think the sendings off in both games for a second bookable offence were weak. But that's me and referees. I think I don't think I'm on any referees' Christmas card list, and I don't suppose I will be come the end of the season. So generally we've been pretty decent. We have played some lovely football. Still looked a bit suspect at the back sometimes, and we've had changes. We've got Mark Roberts injured for I don't know how much longer, another month and a half maybe. I don't know. But we've now brought Jake Rooney in, who's an unknown quantity. I know Derby speak very positively about him, but he's just come back after a long-term injury. So I've no idea how that's going to pan out. We'll see. But if you listen to my colleague on Red All Over, Josh Atherton, one of the hosts of it, he'll tell you that we're going to beat your record. We're going to get over 100 points and walk the league, according to him. But you got to remember, he's young. I'm going to tell you he's young. He's not lived through the life of Barnsley properly yet.
He's not been scarred like you have, Andy.
He's not. No. Although he did say, when I asked him why he supported Barnsley, he said, "My dad, Andy Atherton, his dad said, I've got to put up with it all this time. So you're going to have to," and all. That's when he first took him. You can share the burden of disappointment with me. So
the problem
from an early age, got it from an early age. Bless him. Well, there you go.
Absolutely. Do you know what though, Andy? I think what I really like about what I'm seeing about Barnsley is as always, when you're Barnsley, you're in a certain place in the food chain and you're not expecting the team to be hugely refined, but you'd always want Barnsley to be firstly very aggressive against the ball and full of running. That's a Barnsley team to me. And also trying to play on the front foot and put pressure on opponents. And that's what I like about this Conor Hourihane team.
I mean, football's a sport, but it's also entertainment. You know, people pay to be entertained. I mean, you want to win, but you want to see good football as well and entertaining football. Last season and possibly the season before, well, definitely the season before, we saw a lot of on the back foot passing to around. We got loads of passes, loads of passes that with high percentages, but it's because they're all between the centre halves. So it was boring. That's the word I'm looking for. It was absolutely boring, and it showed last year, the season before, we got success in that we made the playoffs, but last year it was just disjointed and poor. Conor has changed it round. He's got rid of a load of players. He's got rid of players that play at wing back, and he's brought players in that play full back because he wants to play a back four and different formation. Well, you'd think it's like a 4-4-2, but it isn't really. It's very, very, very flexible. We've got a back four, but we've got a left wing back that, in possession, becomes a left winger, and we've got we overload it a bit on the right hand side because Adam Phillips plays towards the right, but then so does Caelan Vickers as an out and out right winger, if you like. So we're very flexible in the way that we play. So it could be 4-4-2, it could be 4-3-3, it could be, I've no idea sometimes. It all depends. What it is, as a high press, can leave us a little bit vulnerable at the back because we've not got speed merchants at the back. But we press, and we press intelligently. So it's what we want to see, and with such as Vickers and sometimes with Cleary, when he plays, we've got wingers that are going at defenders, and I will say Caelan Vickers is the nearest I've seen for a long time to Adam Hamill. Gets you off your seat. Well, not me, obviously, because I'm too old. I've said this before. By the time I've got off my feet,
half an hour to get you off it.
Yeah, it's got to be a long move for it. It's finished by the time I've got off my feet. And so, it gets people off the feet, which is irritating because people stand up in front of me and I can't get up quick enough. So there's all that going on. But yeah, like Adam Hamill did, cutting inside, having a shot, but going at defenders, playing 1-2s and going at defenders. It's nice to see us playing flowing, attacking football with a steady base in midfield. We've got a few players in midfield that can play it steady, but can also close down quickly and set up attacks. We've got, when we're on our game, we look as good as anybody in the division. When we're not on a game, we don't. But hopefully, we're going to spend more time on our game than off it.
It looks that way, doesn't it? Are we seeing a bit of you mentioned the midfield there, Andy? Are we seeing a bit of a renaissance for Luke O'Connell?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it's been well documented that Luca had an injury that sapped his strength and energy. This season, he's come back and he's getting tackles in, he's getting stuck in. He's been, I'm going to say it's a professional, but that's like professional fouls sometimes. But yeah, he's back to his best alongside Adam Phillips, who again, so far, is back to his best. And it's been really good that throughout the transfer window that I hate, we've managed to keep hold of them and Davis Keeler done, which I think most Barnsley fans thought at least one of them might be moved on for financial reasons. Whether or not we've saved enough money by getting rid of however many players we've got, I keep saying 21, but that includes loans going back to the parent club from last season.
Sure.
But it's a lot, and we brought some decent quality, and so we've got a much smaller squad, which could bring its own issues, as the season rolls on. But we've not got players that you could interchange without making any great impact one way or another. So it's interesting times to be a Barnsley fan, and it's all positive. for once we've got the third shirt's just come out and it's black with a gold trim. It looks really, really nice. To go with the other two shirts, the first team shirt home shirt looks pretty decent, and the away
Do you know
shirt
what I think, Andy? I like a plain kit. I like a nice
is.
red on a Barnsley kit. None of this sort of mixing it up with too much white. I think it should be a plain red myself.
Well, the problem that we have, and I presume that most clubs have the same sort of thing. If you just have my personal choice is a red kit with white trim, because that's what that's where I was brought up in years and years ago. Well, 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not that old, but it's soft. But people complain, so it's just like Man United's with a different badge. It's just like so-and-so's with a different badge. You can't win, so you make it a bit different. And with stars and God knows what else.
God, the stars.
Well done, Julianne Kay. But this time she's come up trumps, because I think the home strip is pretty decent. The away strip, if you're from Barnsley, for me, is a thing of beauty. I don't know if you've seen it, Gabe, but it's a thing of beauty. What it is, it's sort of, I don't know what colour you call it, white, silver, light grey. I'm not sure what colour it is. Grey, silver, white, call it white, but across the middle, I could have shown it, across the middle, with a nod to Barnsley's heritage, it's got the imprint of a kestrel on it. Like
a kestrel for a knee.
Kestrel for a knee by Barry Hines, Kes.
Yeah.
And that's, you have to have that. I had to buy, I weren't going to buy a strip this year. I thought, get it for the grandkids, but it's too much. Oh, no, I've got to. I bought them, and I probably. I hope my wife don't watch this, so I'll probably buy the third one and all. So don't let on to Sue. If you speak to Sue, don't let on to her. But yeah, the kestrel strip is a thing of great beauty. So
yeah, absolutely.
If you like that sort of
Billy
thing.
Casper.
If you like Billy Casper, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just wondering, who would you sort of, if you had to pin down Barnsley's key players so far this season, would you be putting Caelan Vickers in that sort of mix?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could go through most of it as it stands. I mean, it could all go horribly wrong starting tomorrow. We could go on a run of 5 defeats or something like that, and then I'll come back on your show and start saying they're all rubbish. Get rid of them, sack them all, move them all on. But at the minute, you could from front to back, after a bit of a shaky bit, you got Murphy Cooper in the goal, who were excellent for Stevenage last season, and he's proven himself to be a good goalkeeper. He's stopping a number of one-on-ones. For me, I like a goalkeeper that dominates his area and comes out and collects loads of balls. He don't do that to my personal satisfaction, but he's a good goalkeeper. So that helps. Tanai Watson has been a revelation at right back. He's been released by Charlton, so how good's he? But he's a proper. He can play in the centre, but he's a proper fullback. And we've needed that. He
doesn't mind a tackle, does he, Tanai Watson?
He's a decent. He's not super spectacular, but sometimes you just want solid players that know how to defend and do it well. We've talked about the midfield umpteen times. Your Adam Phillips and your Luca Connells, and like I've said, they're back to the best. What I do like, and it varies. We've got choices. For me, that they're the two that should definitely be there. Barring injuries or loss of form. But then we've got alternatives at the minute. It's young Jonathan Bland that played the last match there, and Jonathan's Jono is very adaptable. He can play either. He's played either fullback. I think he started as a centre back, but he tends. I'd class him as a central midfield player, and he is only a young lad. But my goodness, he likes to tackle. He puts himself about. Is a very, very good player and a wonderful thing for the football club for the future. And it shows, because the last few games in that position is kept Vimal Yoganathan out of the side, who's become. I don't want to sound patronising to anybody, but having spent a season on loan at Oldham and doing well there, it's become a man. From being a young lad, he's become a man, and he wants to fight everybody. He gets stuck in right, left, and centre, and he's going to be a star for years to come. And both of those two are keeping Johnny Russell out, Jamaican international who whenever he comes on scores a goal. He's not getting a start because in the league because those two are doing so well. Didsey, David McGoldrick's making a difference for us. I know people, eyebrows were raised. He's 37, 38 in November, I think. But he's fit and he's quick and he's been a missing link for us, somebody that can hold the ball up and bring others into play rather than losing it straight away and it coming straight back at the defence. So he's been a revelation. And of course, Davis Keeler-Dunn has not started at his very, very best, but he scored 4 goals in the first, whatever it is, 6 matches, it's something like 6, 7 matches. So, if that's him not playing at his best, then I think the rest of the division needs to start getting a bit worried for when he does start playing at his best. But yeah,
I really like Keeler-Dunn just because he's got that ice cool composure in the final third, and his decision making is always on point, isn't it?
He knows. He's got, for a midfield player or attacking midfield player that's sort of been pushed to be a striker, if you like. He's got a striker's instinct. I'm not going to say he's the same as Gary Lineker, but there's been a few times. Well, his last 2 goals against Huddersfield, the goalkeeper don't collect the ball and he's there. He's following it in every shot. He's following it in and tapping it. Tapping in the rebound. So, and that's a striker's instinct, not to stand and see. Let's see what's happening, and then go and try and get it. It's following it in ready on the assumption that maybe the goalkeeper will spill it, and he's there first, and that's a striker's instinct. Gary Lineker.
He's more creative than Lineker, though, isn't he?
Well, he's not a Babyliner like Gary Lineker was, but yes, he's a bit more creative. He can put a pass in and move forward with the ball at pace, but yeah, not like Gary in that respect. I couldn't think of anybody else that's a Babyliner like Gary Lineker. There must be somebody else I can say it instead. Ian Rush, maybe. I don't know. I'm talking daft now. I don't know.
There you go. I wonder what. Yeah, Ian Rush at Barnsley would have been a bit of a keep, wouldn't it? So where was I? So has this start of the season, this first 6 games, Andy, kind of whet your appetite for what's possible for Barnsley this season? Are you feeling like you might get top 6 this year?
You see, the trouble is, Gabe, it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? You know this, the hope that kills you. So, things go really, really well and you get giddy, like Josh, like I've told you earlier, Josh gets giddy. You get giddy and think, we could do this. Never mind the playoff places, we could go up automatically. And then a couple of defeats and it's like I've said to you, a couple of defeats and we're rubbish, start again. We need, get rid of Hourihane, get some new players in January, get some that can actually play football. So what you've got to do is take the rough with the smooth. And at the minute, apart from a couple of rough bits, it's very, very smooth and we're playing some lovely football. And we are where we deserve to be. 6, but we're a game in hand over most of them. So, it is Stevenage away. We don't really do that well at Stevenage, as Matt Farley keeps telling me. But yeah, if you can't enjoy the good bits, then why are you going to watch football? So yes, despite what I'm telling you about, take the rough with the smooth. I'm really chuffed that we've got the smooth at minute and things are going well, and I hope that it'll continue. I suspect that with the quality of players that we've got going forward, it should do. A couple of injuries could derail it, I think, but generally,
I still think. Absolutely. I still think, Andy, as much as I think a lot of the optimism that we've, from what we've seen in the first 6 games is definitely valid, I would also say that finishing in the top 10 and developing some players to move forward with would still be classed as a good season for Barnsley, because as much as the club at this level has certain expectations and you always want to be towards the top of the league, I think if you can start to develop players and start to build a team, and Hourihane's got his foot in, and we're developing Vimal Yoganathan, and he can be one of the best midfielders in the league next season, and Johnny Bland's gone on another level, and he's got that exposure. I think that can be a really positive thing, because then you've got a group of players to move forward with, so that maybe next summer it's quality over quantity, and so you're not having a massive rebuild, but you're actually building on what you've already done. So yeah, I think top six, there's definite potential from what I've seen, but I think if you just missed out, but the signs are there, then I think that's a positive season.
You don't think we're going to get a record number of 100 points and what have you then this season? That don't sound like it.
I don't know how to break this to you, Andy. I don't think you're going to do that.
Well, you said we were going to be 17th last year, and you were wrong on that. I know.
I did, yeah.
So I'll take it with a pinch of salt, Gabe. You know what I mean? The problem is with a club like ours, and we're certainly not alone, is that if we maintain the positivity, then we're going to keep the players that are going to keep enhancing that positivity, such as Davis Keeler-Dunn and Adam Phillips and what have you. If we drop off, say in January, and I tell you, I hate transfer windows because we're going to get inundated with Barnsley fans saying, "Oh, we're going to sell them, we need," and all that. My biggest worry is that if we drop off, for me, it feels like we're going to go for it this season within certain constraints. And if we drop off and we don't finish in the top six or finish 8th or 10th or whatever, which you're absolutely right, shows progress from last season, both in style and position, come to that. It could then result in players that can definitely play at the Championship level that then leave in the summer because we've not gone up. So then it becomes another season of transition and struggle next season. So for me, if we can at least get into the playoffs, and I think that's more realistic than the top two, but you never know. We've played a couple of teams who I thought would be up at the top, and I think they probably will be. Huddersfield, and I know Huddersfield went down to 10 men, but we were beating them before that. And it could, like any game, other teams have chances, but we had more. And it could have been worse for Huddersfield. So, and Bolton, they got a late equaliser when we'd gone down to 10 men and what have you. But we were playing really, really well against them. So we're matching teams who I personally believe will be up there. Cardiff is an unknown quantity to me, and I don't know where they're going to finish up. But we've certainly shown our credentials that we can match. Although I have to say that both at home we could match teams that are going to be in the playoffs. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be. But we'll see, won't we? I'll have a different. We're doing an instant reaction after the Reading match tomorrow. No doubt I'll sing from a different team sheet if we've lost 3-0 at home. But,
sure. I just wanted to ask you, Andy, moving on to League One as a whole, what have you seen from sides so you've played so far Plymouth Argyle, Burton Albion, Bolton Wanderers, Peterborough, Wimbledon, and Rotherham and Huddersfield. Any of those teams that have kind of caught from an opposition perspective?
Well, a mixture of things, really. I thought we won well, even down to 10 men at Plymouth in the opening game. And I expected Plymouth to be up at the top. They weren't anywhere near as good as I anticipated that they would be. I've got them in my top, when you do predictions at the start of the season, I've got them in my top 6, and they were very disappointing. I thought they were very disappointing. Wimbledon, I thought, played really well, and I was pleased for Wimbledon, because of all the stuff that's gone over throughout the years for them. In fact, I wrote an article in their that's been write an article in their match day program for the Barnsley game. So that was nice. So I've now got I think friends in Wimbledon, so I'm chuffed about that. They were good. I thought Wimbledon were good. I was a bit surprised, not entirely surprised, but a bit surprised at Burton. I thought Burton were exceptional in the first half, went into a 2-goal lead against us at Oakwell, and I thought played really, really well. We put them under the cosh in the second half to pull it back, and like I say, an injury time, third goal sealed it for us. But they were a tough side to beat. They've got some ex-players of ours in there, Lofthouse, and
they got the centre half that you had.
Yeah, Jasper Moon. I thought were a decent play. I think the managers we had at the time spoiled, as a young lad, spoiled Jasper, put him in too early. But he's turning out to be a decent centre back and getting a decent living from the game. So I was really pleased for them. Bolton were what I'd expect, a good side, and but we dominated for long periods. In fact, they played at their best as the game went on when we were down to 10 men. But that was an interesting game. And Huddersfield, they're a good side, but on the day we were much better. I know they lost a player. We seem to be playing a lot of games either with or against 10 men. But Huddersfield are a decent side. They're what I'd expect. But I thought we were well on top for long swathes of that game.
So it's that kind of performance that feels like a statement from Barnsley's point of view, that you can face a side like Huddersfield, who are expected to be right up there and play well.
Yeah, we played Rotherham in the EFL and in the second round, and they were rubbish. They were rubbish. You can tell that Matt Lax. Like I told him on your show last time, they were rubbish. No, they weren't. They weren't rubbish. But we got a decent 1-0 win, and it was a good game. They're entertaining games, and I will say umpteen times, there are no easy games in this division. Like I've told you, the teams that most people might expect to be lower down in the league, like your Burtons and what have you, and your Wimbledons, showed that they've got quality. So anybody, anybody can beat anybody. We've been lucky that in some respects that we've had the rub of the green with some of the stuff and not with other stuff. It's a thin line, isn't it, Gabe?
Yeah.
You hit the post, it goes inside the post into the goalie's hands, it hits the post and goes in the net. You miss a sitter, the goalkeeper pulls off a worldie, or he makes an absolute hash of it, like both Huddersfield goalkeepers did against us, and Keeler done followed in, like I've said to you, and put them in. It's thin line between success and failure at the minute. Yeah. It's success in general for us. So
fingers crossed that continues. Well, listen, Andy, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I know you've got some big plans for Red All Over, and you're doing the fan zone on Saturday, are you?
I'm gobsmacked. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. A couple of weeks ago, with Huddersfield game, against a local rival, Callum Cooper, who does I follow and does lots of stuff around Oakwell, interviewing players and what have you. Is on holiday. Well, they say he's on holiday. I think we've staged a coup, and we've not told Barnsley yet. We've got shut to him. Nobody knows, but we've got him locked up in a shed somewhere. I think Josh has got him. Josh has got him in Lancashire in the shed. So myself and Tracy Martin did it a couple of weeks ago, and with Callum's continued absence, he's on holiday, Gabe. Trust me, he's on holiday. Dean Pudfat and I are doing the fan zone tomorrow, so that'll be interesting for us, and maybe not so much for the people at the fan zone watching, but it'll be different to what they're used to, I think.
Yes,
and of course we've in Barnsley, Red All Over started as a radio station all those years ago on Dern FM. Well, to some in some respects, it's gone a bit full circle. That a couple of the people that worked at Dern FM, Leanne Dundas and Lee Barber, have got together and have put together a station dedicated to Barnsley, called Barnsley Radio. Funnily enough, innovative name, says it's on the tin. So Barnsley Radio, and we were asked if we would do an hour's show every Thursday at 7:00. So Josh Atherton, because everybody else took a step back, and Josh said, "I'll do it." He just wants the fame. He's doing it with our dear friend and sometime contributor, Alex Francis. So for all the years that them two, particularly Josh, has said and have repeated that I've got a face for radio, those two have definitely got faces for radio. So yeah, they're doing that. Don't believe that it's live. People make out that it's live. They record it on a Wednesday. Don't be fooled. Record it on a Wednesday.
Well, if they said you've got a face for radio, why do you think I've invited you onto the live stream?
Exactly, and I've said umpteen times, the only person, whenever I've said I've got a face, I keep getting told I've got a face for radio, there's only my close pal Jake Tong, that's argued the toss and said, "Oh no, you haven't. You've got a lovely face." Everybody else
he's a charmer, Jake.
He is. It's just everybody else. When I say, just nods and say, "Yeah, it's a shame," and all that. So I do appreciate you. Doing something that's on video rather than on that's just audio. So
maybe Jake just feels guilty for Lincoln winning 5-1 at Barnsley in 2024. So
yeah, but he didn't feel so guilty when we hammered him 4-1 last time, did he? Last season. So you can't keep bringing it up from 2 years ago when I can counter it with a year ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it'll be nice to speak to him all. I was hoping to speak to Matt Farley, but that game got called off.
Yeah.
So hold that in abeyance.
Yes.
I've got a surprise for him when I finally meet up with him.
Absolutely.
We'll see. Yeah.
Well,
it's
Andy,
been a pleasure, Gabe.
Always a pleasure to have you on, Andy. Lovely to see you. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been the EFL Debate League One podcast, and we'll see you again next week.
You Reds.